I just got out of the theaters from seeing Toy Story 5 on the big screen, and there's a lot to discuss when it comes to this movie, guys. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get to the movie review. Let's go. Toy Story 5 is a comedy adventure movie and is the latest installment into the Toy Story franchise, directed by Andrew Stanton. And inside of this film, we see the toys are back, and this time it's toys meet tech. Woody, Buzz Lightyear, Jessie, and the rest of the gang's jobs are challenged when they come face to face with LilyPad, a brand new tablet device that arrives with their own disruptive ideas about what is best for their kid Bonnie. Will Playtime ever be the same? So as you can hear there, this movie has a brand new direction that it's going into for the franchise, that being toys versus this new technological advancement, and kids these days not really playing with toys. You know, the iPad kid era and things like that. It was an interesting direction for this film to go in. So let's go ahead and talk about all of this. Let's dive in a little deeper, starting with my positives for Toy Story 5. And for my first positive with this movie, we have to talk about how the original toys are back. Okay, we get all of our classic cast here with, as you heard there in the synopsis, Woody, Buzz Lightyear, Jessie, you know, Mr. Potato Head, and all of the rest of the gang. Okay, you even have like Forky from the last movie, right? So it was very nostalgic to see all of these characters come back, seeing these movies throughout the years from my early childhood all the way into early adulthood, you know, and that was great. They also got all of the classic voice actors for these characters, and I think that is very important, so I'm glad they were able to do that. Tom Hanks as Woody, Tim Allen as Buzz Lightyear, and the rest of the gang as it stated in the synopsis. So all of that was great. I enjoyed those elements of the movie. Now let's go ahead and move into my other positives when it comes to this film, and it would have to be the villain of this movie, if you want to call this character a villain, and that is LilyPad, which we also mentioned in the synopsis. Now LilyPad is this new device that comes into play into their kid Bonnie's life for this movie. Now, like I stated before, it's part of the new direction that this franchise wanted to go in with this movie, and I think it worked very well. Okay, they portray LilyPad as definitely being this sinister and evil device who, on one hand, thinks they're the hero of their own story because they're trying to get Bonnie out to play with other kids, connect with other kids, and make new friends. But what LilyPad fails to understand is Bonnie isn't exactly like the new kids of this era, right? She still kind of has this classic mindset where she still plays with toys, which is sort of a dying era, we could say. And so in this desperation to get Bonnie to acclimate to the kids her age and make new friends, she ends up betraying all of the original toys that were there for Bonnie the entire time, making her, like I said, the antagonist of this movie. And I think it worked very well. Okay, I definitely despise the LilyPad character, but this character also has a character arc, which was very important in fleshing out LilyPad as a new member to Bonnie's household, right? And a new member to the Toy Story franchise. And I think all of that was done very well here. Now let's go ahead and move into some other positives that I have with the Toy Story 5 movie, and it would have to be the animation, because while the animation looks crisp, it looks like the updated version of all of those classic 4 movies now. They also added a new animated scene when the kids are playing, right? When it's playtime and you're in this imagination world, they showcase it with a new type of animation, kind of looking like children drawings in a way, and I think it worked very well here. I definitely appreciated this new addition to the franchise, and it made it feel a bit more fresh and a bit more new, and gave the audience something to look forward to inside of this film. Now moving on to other positives with this movie, the narrative and the story, right? I touched on it a bit right before we jumped into the positive section, but man, I think it was done very well here, talking about and addressing how the times are truly changing. You know, in the past films, it was always our kid is growing up, they don't want to play anymore, but in this one it's a bit different. Now it's they haven't grown up yet, but they don't want to play with toys anymore, and they're rejecting that past childhood experience and adopting this new technological advancement with iPads, iPad kids being this entire thing of today's era, right? And I also love how this movie dove into all of the negative things that can come with that happening, and with a child encountering technology a bit too early in life, such as 1, cyberbullying, which this movie definitely touches on and addresses, and 2, dopamine addiction, right? The addiction to just constantly clicking that screen and getting a constant unhealthy feedback for a young brain. That addiction to screen time that many people have gone through in their lives, especially in that younger generation. And 3, that antisocial nature that comes along with being addicted to technology and devices, right? Because kids stop going out and playing with other children in the street. They stop making friends. They stop talking to other people. They want to more seclude themselves in the house to their device. And if they want to get in touch with any friends whatsoever, they meet them online or they talk to them online, right? And this movie takes all of those changes, all of these things that are happening in today's society, and it addresses them and it fleshes them out inside of this film. And I think it did it justice. I think it did it in a very positive way, in a way that an audience of all ages for the most part can understand, which is very important here, which, by the way, that's another positive with this film, right? Any generation can watch this movie. I walked into this movie and had a blast, had a great time, as I did with all of the past Toy Story films throughout my entire life. This is a movie where it's like, it's not only for kids. They understand that they have to appeal to all generations here, people of all ages, right? Because parents are going to be bringing their children to this movie, and the parents themselves grew up with these films. So it was very important that this movie managed to achieve that. I think that's something that other movies this year, such as like a Master of the Universe, kind of failed to do, which is appeal to all generations, and Toy Story managed to do that here. So I want to commend the film for that. Now let's go ahead and jump on to another positive I had with this movie, and this will be the last one we touch on, by the way. It's the fact that it's a self-contained story. It didn't go over the top with its story like some of the past ones may have, which that's not a bad thing, but this one just doesn't do that. They decided to go with a more contained story, really hone in and focus on Bonnie and how Bonnie's dealing with the world and the changes that she's going through and her struggle making friends, and then this inner conflict inside the household between the iPad, the lily pad, right, and then the current toys that have been there the entire time. And really the movie kept it at that, and I liked that. Okay, it felt grounded, it felt somewhat real, and I appreciated those elements out of this film. Now with that being said, guys, let's go ahead and move over into my negatives when it comes to the Toy Story 5 movie. And for my first negative, and really my only negative with this film, it's the pacing. Okay, this movie definitely had some pacing issues, especially in that first act and at the start of the second act. You know, I begin to get a bit bored with certain sequences because it felt like they were just taking their time too much in certain areas of the film when they really didn't need to, and we should have sped things up just a little bit in terms of the story taking place and the character arcs taking place. But outside of that, that would be my only negative with the film. So let's go ahead and move into my overall review for Toy Story 5. Guys, overall, this is great family fun. Okay, you could bring the entire family to this one and you're all going to have a great time watching this movie. It's an excellent addition to the Toy Story franchise. Pixar did this movie justice. They haven't missed yet. Okay, we have 5 bangers so far, and I really did enjoy Toy Story 4, by the way. So I felt like I liked this one just about as much as I did that one. The nostalgia element is definitely there while still finding a way to bring that story into a new direction, point the mirror back at society a little bit, and just address things that have been going on inside of our current society. So there's a lot to appreciate with this film, especially with that nostalgia element. And so overall, guys, if I had to rate this movie, I would go ahead and give Toy Story 5 a 9.5 out of 10. It gets the 9.5 out of 10. I thought this was very well done. I'm looking forward to seeing what else can they possibly say, what else can they possibly touch on, because eventually it's going to get harder, but as long as they have proper story writers, I think they'll be just fine, right? All they need is a good script, and they need that classic cast back, and they'll be just fine going forward. Those are my thoughts on the Toy Story 5 film. I'm glad I finally got to check this one out and bring my review to all of you guys. Let me know your thoughts on this film down in the comment section down below. If you don't know what we do here on Demigod ENT, we do film, TV, and pop culture based content. So if you're interested in this type of content, in the right place, hit subscribe, hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. I'll catch you in the next one, guys. Peace.